though I have a very busy schedule tonight, I'm happy to be with you for a little while this Christmas Eve. My sleigh is packed up and ready to go. I can't wait for Miss Claus to let me eat cookies again. If you plan on leaving me cookies, maybe you can make them to go. Then I can share them with Mrs. Claus and my elves when I return home to the North Pole. Christmas Eve is a magical night. We sing Christmas carols, enjoy yummy food, friends and family all waiting for that magical Christmas morning. The Night Before Christmas is actually a poem written by Clement Moore around 1823. Many versions of this traditional poem published since then have beautiful illustrations by talented artists from many different parts of the world. The version I am going to read to you tonight is no exception. So let's enjoy The Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were all nestled and snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and they called him by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. Illustration of me, working. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys was flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger outside his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprung to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Oh, that is a wonderful, timeless classic story. All services have a Night Before Christmas poems adapted for servicemen of all the different military branches. Tonight, I'm going to read you A Soldier's Night Before Christmas. I'd like to dedicate this to all the sailors, soldiers, airmen, and Marines who may have to be away from their families this Christmas. The Soldier's Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the base, only sentries were stirring. They guarded the place. At the foot of each bunk sat a helmet and boot, for the Santa of the soldiers to fill up with loot. The soldiers were sleeping and snoring away, as they dreamed of back home on good Christmas Day. One snoozed with his rifle, he seemed so content. I slept with the letters my family had sent. When outside the tent there rose such a clatter, I sprang from my rack to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, poked my head out and yelled, "What was that crash?" When what to my thrill and relief should appear, but one of our Blackhawks to give the all clear. More rattles and rumbles, I heard a deep whine, then drove 8 Humvees, a Jeep close behind. Each vehicle painted bright Christmas green, with more lights and gold tinsel than I had ever seen. The convoy commander leaped down and he paused. I knew then and there it was Sergeant McClaws. More rapid than rockets his drivers they came, when he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Cohen, Mendoza, Wolosky, and McCord. Now Lee, Watts, Donetti, and Specialist Ford. Go fill up my sea bags with gifts large and small. Now dash away, all. In the blink of an eye to their trucks the troops darted. The engines did flutter, they sputtered, then started. The armored moved out, it was duty or bust. McClaws disappeared in all of the dust. As I drew my head and was turning around, through the tent flap on the sergeant came in with a bound. He was dressed in all camo and looked quite a sight, with a Santa hat added for this special night. His eyes sharp as lasers, he stood 6 feet 6. His nose was quite crooked, his jaw hard as bricks. A stub of a cigar he held clamped in his teeth, and the smoke, it circled his head like a wreath. A young driver walked in with a sea bag in tow. McClaws took the bag and told the driver to go. Then Sarge went to work. His mission today, bring Christmas from home to the troops far away. Tasty gifts from old friends and helmets he laid. There were candies and cookies and cakes, all homemade. Many parents sent phone cards so soldiers could hear treasured voices and laughter of those they held dear. Loving husbands and wives had mailed photos galore of weddings and birthdays and first steps and more. And for each soldier's boot, like a warm, happy hug, there was art from the children, at home sweet and snug. As he finished the job, did I see a twinkle? Was that a small smile instead of just a wrinkle? To the top of his brow he raised his hand and gave a salute that made me feel grand. I gasped in surprise when his face all aglow. He gave a huge grin and a big ho, ho, ho! Ho, ho, ho! From the barracks and then from the base. Ho, ho, ho! As the convoy sped into space. As the camp radar lost him, I heard his faint call. Happy Christmas, brave soldiers! May peace come to all! Such a delightful story for our servicemen and women. Santa thinks about them often. Finally, I want to leave you with a story about a boy named David, who is as excited about Christmas as you all are. It's called It's Christmas, David, by David Shannon. At Christmas time, everyone always said no to David. No peeking. No snitching. Those are not toys. Santa's watching, David. Be patient. Hurry up. Naughty list, naughty list, naughty list. Santa's going to bring you a lump of coal. Don't start yet. Seat your grandmother. No yawning at the dinner table. That's the wrong fork. Sit up straight. Don't reach. Put your napkin in your lap. Get your elbows off the table. No, David, you may not open one early. Go to sleep, David. No Christmas for you, David. Wake up, David. You were dreaming. Yes, David, it's Christmas. A wonderful story. Did you notice how David's parents kept reminding him on Christmas Eve not to peek or take cookies? Does that sound like you? Even though it's hard not to be excited after waiting so long, do your best and listen to your parents. Be polite to visitors. Show good table manners, and please remember to share. I'd like to share a special poem with you. It is entitled Christmas by M.E. Murrow. Christmas is more than a day in December. It's all of those things that we love to remember. It's carolers singing familiar refrains, bright-colored stockings and shiny toy trains, streamers of tinsel and glass satin balls, and laughter that rings through the house and its halls. Christmas is more than a day in December. It is the magic and the love that we'll always remember. Be sure and brush your teeth. Go to bed early. Christmas morning will be shining brightly soon in Hawaii. Ho, 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 ho!